Ladies and gentlemen, our next presenter tonight, this is Bobbi Lee Hitchon. Okay, I'm going to say it again. This is Bobbi Lee Hitchon. She is an avid traveler, a beekeeper, a dive master, a plant lover, and passionate about all things life. She has been to 50 countries in the world. Apparently 51 if you count Texas. And I do. And she intends on setting foot in every single country on this beautiful, mad, crazy fucking planet before she dies. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bobbi Lee Hitchon. Oh, the places you'll go.
Hello. All right. There we go. Okay. Hi, I'm Bobbi, and I'll be taking care of you today. This is how I start 150 conversations each week, but some of them end in travel guides. I've written guides like this in eateries in countries that I've lived at around the world. Tonight, I'm going to tell you how my industry work has not only fueled my travels, but it has also enhanced my journey. It's pretty surreal to be doing this here in St. Augustine because this is actually where my passion for travel started. I grew up in Jersey, but my family took every opportunity they could to pack up the station wagon and come down to St. Augustine. At 15, I started working in restaurants. By 16, I had saved up enough for my first trip abroad. I went to 6 countries for 4 weeks on an ambassador program. When I came home, I left with a serious addiction. I didn't know when I was going or where I was going next, but I knew I was going. In college, I took 2 chances to study abroad. Coming off of the back of working at Starbucks, I went into the Venice train station, drank 6 cappuccinos in a row. I didn't know that coffee could be that good. When I left college, I was really worried. A lot of the opportunities to travel long-term are related to education. So I left worried about when my next opportunity would come next. It was a global recession, housing crisis. Still, I was thinking, is this it? Did I do all my wild travels and now I have to settle into life? I started working at a newspaper and started applying to positions abroad. War correspondent actually sounded like a really great opportunity. As all of those opportunities started to come up no good, I ended up looking online for different chances, where I found the working holiday visa. So I ended up in Australia. I left January 2010 and started out my journey doing some farm work and also doing a blogging gig up the East Coast. I held every single koala bear on the east coast of Australia. I ended in this little town called Port Douglas. And when I got there for the first time in my life, I just wanted to sit still. I started working in restaurants again, and it actually felt like the start of my journey in Australia because I became a part of an incredible community there. So to add to it, I became also a part of your very typical industry romance. Mouthy waitress meets sarcastic chef, they start flirting at the pass. They really become connected over shift drinks and, you get the picture. You know how it's going here. We actually called him Parsley to begin with because that was the code word for everyone in front of house for hotties at the restaurant. So that's how I originally knew him. But I found that this was no longer a backpacker fling when he cut short his Australia visa when mine ended to come and meet me in Australia. Australia is peak travel experience for food lovers. Everything from balut in the Philippines, which is literally a fertilized chicken egg, to pad thai. I started to realize that a lot of my family meals and a lot of those conversations in the back of the house that start with, have you ever heard of that crazy thing they eat in so-and-so? Was kind of one of the catalysts to the reasons that I wanted to travel so badly. My whole life started to align, and I started to really consider a career in the restaurant industry as something more permanent. So when we ended up in our next location, that was the first thing on our mind. When we ran out of money in Asia, we applied for a working holiday visa in New Zealand. We spent a year there, and to be honest, showing up there, we were literally on fumes. We were pretty lucky to find jobs and a place to live within 24 hours of arrival. It's a real testament to the industry and also Kiwi hospitality. We retreated to London after all of that because it was the only place that we could work and live together. He then popped the question. And so we went to Vegas and got married. But then came the real question, where are we gonna live? We decided on the United States because we figured there was a bit more room to roam. And after a brief stint in New Jersey, we ended up in Austin, Texas. We had a friend in New Zealand who had a room open for us, so we took them up on it. In Austin, we fell on our industry again to start anew with our life there. I started working at a Mexican soul food joint on the east side. I did a brief gig in tour guiding, and I finally ended at a distillery where I started in the tap room, but that eventually led to a job creating brand activations for them, which came to probably one of my proudest moments working in restaurants. I created a lot of activations, one of which was an outdoor dining experience called Wild. It dealt with a lot of really incredible live fire chefs, hunter-gatherer mentality, and it took place in expansive, beautiful ranches. Still, that old itch started to scratch. My husband was desperate to get back to the sea, and I was pretty keen to see what life would actually be like living in St. Augustine. So we packed up everything and we headed east. Once again, we showed up somewhere else, friendless and jobless. And we were lucky enough to walk into bars and restaurants that were quick to take us in. When you're a part of what makes this town tick, you really can't go anywhere without running into a friendly face. I think when I first came here as a kid, I remembered it as a place with good fried clams. But now, the lasting sort of presence about this place is an amazing place rooted in community. I feel fortunate to be here, and I can say without a doubt, had I not started working in restaurants at 15, none of the adventures in my life, let alone being here, would happen. Thank you!